All right, guys, from time to time, there are knife companies that kind of just fall by the wayside. We forget about them and you never hear from them again. So today we're going to look at a brand that kind of just disappeared. We're going to look at mcusta knives. So let's turn this around and take a look at it from above. All right, guys, there you go. Seki City made mcusta blades. This is a company that was around for a little while, and they were kind of popular. A lot of people were talking about them, but they just kind of fell off the map. You really don't see any of us knife tubers talking about this brand anymore, and I think I know why. But let's go ahead and get into it. Before we do that, I want to remind you guys, the channel is completely self-sponsored with the affiliate links down below. Amazon store, all that stuff. There's a coupon code of crazysharp that'll save you 10% at a lot of places. So at any rate, let's go ahead and get into this. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So these were striking knives. This is my daughter's knife. She fell in love with it, and I just was like, okay, well, you can keep it. This is their mcusta Japanese bushi sword. Now, this is done in a forge welded, pattern welded, hand hammered Damascus. So now we know that we all know that is a term that gets thrown around real loosely. But this is probably one of the best hammered forge welded blades that I've seen in a very, very long time. It is not like your typical powdered Damascus like Damasteel or some of the others you're seeing. This was hammered. It is a VG10 core, if I remember correctly, but it's hard to find info on these. I'll look it up and I'll make sure I put the info down here. These were done with aluminum anodized scales, and they are very attractive. This simulates the wrap pattern that you get on a Japanese sword, and they were liner locks with nothing but a thumb stud. These were slow rollers, very, very similar in action to the Sebenza. Now, to give you guys a size reference on this particular knife, we're gonna grab a couple knives and we'll compare them. So your first knife for size comparison is the Spyderco PM2, really well-known knife. You can see the size reference there. And we're only gonna do one more because this is just a quick reference. And it's the Benchmade 940. You can see almost the same in size. So let's get this out of the way and let's go ahead and talk about this knife and this company. All right, so mcusta Knives is a company that started in Seki City, Japan in 2000. And they hit the ground running. They were really popular. And then they kind of fell off. So mcusta stands, it's an abbreviation. Japanese companies are famous for this. This is machine custom, basically, is what it says. Now this, as I said, was listed as a hand-hammered Damascus blade. So it's been forge welded. Typically their knives are done in like VG10 and things like that. And they were kind of expensive. They were renowned for high quality knives, some innovation. They had listed as unique pivots and mechanisms with their one-hand openers. And I have to say, incredibly smooth action on this. Now, the thing about them were that they gained a lot of popularity when they first hit the market, and then they kind of fell off. Now, they were done really, really well. These are very comfortable handles. And a beautiful, beautiful blade. All of this crowning that was done on this, really, really smooth. You've got like, they did really good job on their aluminum with their anodizing. And this is my daughter's knife. So we are going to be extra careful not to screw this up. She absolutely loves this, and it's like her prized possession as far as knives. And I remember when these first started hitting the market, and when the YouTube really started to become a thing, there was a lot of people that talked about these knives. And I think that the reason that they fell off is the same reason that some other knife brands have kind of went by the wayside. And we're going to talk about that. So there was some limitations on what you would get. Most of their knives looked like this. Now, I do have to say, they make kitchen knives and professional cutlery and things like that. But their pocket knives all were basically the same. There wasn't a lot of variation in what they made. You basically got the same knife done a bunch of different ways. It's like Taco Bell, same ingredients, just repackaged as different finishes and things like that. They were very, very good knives. The problem you had was there was some weirdness about them that people started to call out. One of them being this pocket clip system that they had. So these pocket clips, if you look at them, it's the same as the liner. As a matter of fact, I believe that it is. I haven't taken this apart in a very long time, so I'm not going to, because if I remember right, this was kind of a pain. But the liner material basically was cut and then folded over, and so your liner was the same thickness. As you can see, it's the same thickness of material. And the problem is they're really stiff. They're really, really stiff. And then they're thick, so that means that they stand up kind of tall and they dig into your hand. Next issue, they were tip down only. There was no variation on this. There was no ambidextrous moving of the pocket clip. And so these pocket clips were just really uncomfortable in hand. Very, very sharp. They stand up really proud, and where they're at, they're in an area where it's just not a good look. So they weren't real comfortable. They had this weird thing that they would do where they would not duplicate the sides of the knife, and they did no weight reduction. So you had this aluminum side that was light, and then the side with the steel liner, and you had this weird imbalance of weight in your hands. You could feel the weight from side to side, but that also meant that your jimping was weird. So your jimping is not above the handle of the knife. It's simply there down below, which is kind of useless. And it's weird because it's only on one side. They did a lot of these knives like this, and I don't remember it being a well done thing. Next thing, the pivots are finicky. Like, you got to get them just in the right spot. Now, this one has been Loctited. It is in the perfect spot. Once you get them in that Goldilocks zone, they're very, very smooth. They really are incredibly smooth. The problem you have, though, is that if you change that ever so slightly, it stiffens up, and then it's basically a two-hand opener. And the next thing that went was the price. These knives were kind of expensive. They really were. I believe this knife was, hang on a second, let me look up the price. I went back as far as I could find. These were $210 for these, and that was kind of pricey back then. I think they're cheaper now, but that was kind of pricey. And I think that just that combination of so many things, like, it really didn't hit the US market, because about the time that these were hitting the market, companies were starting to do tip down or tip up carry, which is, in my opinion, a much better way to do it. They were doing a lot of weight reduction. They were evening out materials or going for lighter materials, and they were going for pocket clips that weren't as intrusive. Now, this was a deep carry pocket clip. It was one of the first knives I ever saw that had a deep carry pocket clip. And then one of the other things was there was very little detent on these. And I've heard this be a thing across the market. And I will tell you, I actually did stab myself in the leg with this, messing around with it when I got this out for the video. I put it in my left pocket because I had other things in my pocket, and it caught and it opened. And that is a very, very sharp point. And I dug that right into my leg. I thought it was going to need a stitch or two. Ruined a pair of jeans, as a matter of fact, because it went in through the pocket material and cut the whole pocket. So yeah, these were very light detent. There's almost no detent on that. You can hear it drop in, but it's just, there's no real retention on that. As a matter of fact, you can swing it out. So I think that this big combination of everything made this brand really not resonate with the US market. Because there were so many other options. Cold Steel was doing stuff with multiple pocket clips in different positions. They were doing stuff that was cheaper but good heat treat and more functional. And the fact was, these were knives that people would add to their collection and then they just didn't use. They weren't something that people were using, and I can see why. They are beautifully attractive. And by the way, this is 33 layer Damascus. It's hammered Damascus. Now, this exact knife with black anodized handles is available on Amazon, and I'll put a link to it down below if you want to check one out. They're $176 on Amazon right now. But as much as I like this, I find it to be a lot like the Rockstead. The Japanese brands kind of take things and try to make it attractive and an art piece when it just needs to be a knife. There's no real need for it to be this fancy. So it's sad that they have kind of fallen by the wayside. Now, they do still have a market. They still have a website. They still are making, like I said, kitchen cutlery and things like that. But I think that a lot of their folding knives have just kind of been phased out. Most of it's like fixed blade, and like I said, kitchen cutlery and things like that. But if you're in the market for one of these, I'll put a purchase link down below. You can find all this stuff. Like I said, most of the stuff you find on my channel, you can find with my affiliate links and things like that. So guys, let's turn this around and do some final thoughts, and I'll send you out about your day. But let me say, for me, this knife's a nine. If it wasn't for the fact my daughter liked it, it would have went away a long time ago. So let's get out of here and do some final thoughts. So yeah, guys, there you go. I mean, these knives were great to a point. They just had some limitations, and I just don't think that they really hit the market with the United States knife enthusiasts as well as some other brands. So I would love to see this company make some things that are more in line with what the average consumer wants. So with that being said, guys, that's the end of the video. Lots of fun. I do love this. This is my daughter's knife, like I said, and it won't ever go anywhere. But yeah, guys, if you want to support the channel, like I said in the beginning of the video, like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. It's the best thing you can do. Look at joining my memberships. I am currently unemployed again for hopefully not very long. So that would greatly help out. But the best thing you can do is all of the affiliates down below. If you're going to buy anything, use those. I've got Coffee Brand Coffee, Tempered Trail. Those two links have got discounts of 10% built in. And speaking of discounts, if you guys want to save some money, 10% off at KATSU Knives, 10% off at Rosecraft Blades, and 10% off at Fair and Forged Knife Works with coupon code crazysharp, all one word. There is a public Discord down below. It says join the Discord, or join the community. It's not actually Discord, it's Gilded, but it works the same. It's open to everyone. You can just hang out there. Guys, that's it on this one. I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video.